Hi guys, Matt the Editor here, and welcome to the commentaries of both Season 1 and Season 2. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a commentary talking about the behind the scenes of the first two seasons of Doctor Who Figure Adventures. So now, technically, this isn't the first episode first full Doctor Who FA episode to be produced. Technically, it was the Moment of the Doctor that was the first one to be released, but I decided to talk about doing a commentary on both seasons in chronological order in the timeline. So we're going to start off with the first episode of Season 1, the new chapter. So yeah, you're probably going to be wondering, I think the first question you probably would be asking yourself is, Matt, why did you want to start your own series of Doctor Who? Why did you want to create your own Doctor, and where did the idea come from? Well, the answer is it's a pretty simple answer. Is I've pretty much been a fan of Doctor Who for a long while, since 2005 with Parting of the Ways and Dalek. It wasn't until like Season 2 with David Tennant that I actually started creating my own adventures. Not in animation, but through like drawings and all that. And I've pretty much been watching a lot of figure adventures like Batman March, James Blow's DWT, and of course my good friend Sam Lloyd on UDWF1. And I pretty much started writing my own series of Doctor Who for Sam Lloyd with the Matt Smith series, yeah, we pretty much been working on it. Unfortunately, the series didn't come out, so I didn't know what to do. And by the time I started doing Spider-Man action figure adventures, I thought, I guess I might as well do some Doctor Who stuff. And I wanted to try it with like a new Doctor. Oh yeah, as you can see, there's no intro. That's mostly because I didn't know how to create an intro sequence at the time, and it's actually quite weird that I actually came up with the idea of not including an intro sequence before Series 11 did. Weird. Okay, so let's talk about this new Doctor. Oh god. Yeah. That was by the time I tried using Photoshop to combine the head and the head of my Doctor and Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi action figure I used for just a stand-in shot, and basically I had to use I was using Premiere to really make the entire costume grey, because I didn't know how to do that on Photoshop. Oh god. Yeah, this entire scene was improvised during voice recording. Yeah. That was quite a mouthful to do. So yeah, this, as you can see, this... Yeah, Future Predator. I was just being lazy at that time. But honestly, a Future Predator from Primeval was actually a good idea to bring into Doctor Who. Oh god, yeah. Oh yeah, there's a little continuity error there. It's purple, not black. But yeah, it was one of the early episodes. So you gotta give me a break. So yeah, this entire episode, it pretty much just... I didn't want to go too big with this episode because I wasn't quite sure exactly how to sort of go with it. I just wanted to do like a sort of standard Doctor Who episode 1, first episode. Simple stories. Just a simple premise. And here we are. I'm just rambling on. Anyway, so yeah, back on track. Why did I create a new Doctor? By the time I created a new Doctor, it was when I was doing the mini-sode series, when I did the episode of Companion Swap, and I wanted to use a brand new Doctor because I find it very difficult when you're writing for an existing Doctor, if it was like Matt Smith or if it was like David Tennant or or so on. You would have to make sure that when you're writing the Doctor, you have to make sure you've got their personality and character right when you're writing it. And even though I've watched like a lot of David Tennant and a lot of Matt Smith, I didn't know how to write for them. I didn't know how to write for all the other Doctors, so I thought I might play it safe and just just do my own Doctor and see how it goes from there. And since I pretty much have been growing a fan base of the multiverse Doctors, and since a lot of people really did like seeing my Doctor cross over and with other multiverse Doctors, it was actually I'm actually quite honoured and very grateful that this is for what happened from this episode. So yeah, as you can tell when you're watching this episode, the audio on my voice recording is not at all good. That was basically by the time I originally used like Audacity when I was doing the voice recording, and I had like a very poor I didn't have like a good quality microphone like I've got now. I had like like a normal karaoke microphone to sing, and yeah, you can get like a lot of feedback from the voices and all that. But yeah, it was only until like after this episode I started doing some recording on my camera, which had a very good quality microphone. That's pretty much how it started. Here we go. This is always a nice sequence to do in every Doctor Who episode. When the Doctor has to pick some clothes. I did want there to be like a sequence to have just him going over different outfits, but seeing as I really didn't know how to customize figures, I didn't know how to put his head on other minifigures, and I didn't know how to use Photoshop at the time, so I had to go with something, just cut straight to him wearing the suit, and this was funny. I'm surprised a lot of people, some people actually quite like the idea of the Doctor wearing that hat, and yeah, the green screen on the reflection took a lot of work to do. Actually, fun fact, the props for the wardrobe and the bed actually came from a dollhouse that one of my sisters had when they were young. We found them in the attic about a couple of weeks before this episode came out, because by the time I was using those props for my own animated projects, and since we found them, I thought, I might as well use them for this episode, use this for this episode. And I still got them, just in case you're wondering. I still got those props, come in handy. And yeah, here we go. So basically, the entire writing process was very difficult, because, okay, I originally wanted this series to be, I didn't want it to be canon to the official show, because originally I wanted the series to be called Doctor Who Regenerated, meaning that when the series starts, the Doctor is full-on human. When he crash lands on Earth, the Tardis is like destroyed. He's lost his regeneration energy. He is now a human being, but he still has the intellect of a Time Lord, and it was to be the series was to center the Doctor's adventures on Earth, kind of like Torchwood and Sarah Jane adventures, and all the standard adventures on Earth. But then I did not know where to take that idea, so I decided to go back to the traditional Doctor Who formula. Oh god, Rose Tyler with white blue tack on them. Yeah. So yeah, I basically wanted this episode not only to center around the new Doctor, I wanted it to center around Connie Thomas. This is mostly because the moment of the Doctor pretty much was Doctor-centric, and I wanted this series to focus on Connie's story. And in this case, it was I've always wanted there to be a companion because every companion we sort of had is either a workaholic, or a pretty girl, or someone who just follows the Doctor because they love them, or like all the companions we've had a couple of times, but all of them were the same characters, and I kind of wanted the idea to have like, what if he came across someone who's always getting into trouble? Someone who started off doing a lot of crimes, as you see in this episode. Connie used to do a couple of getting into a lot of trouble with like home breakage with her boyfriend here, Keith. Um, and it's pretty much along the lines of the doctor seems to come in and save their skin a couple of times, and in doing so, it inspired Connie to sort of change her ways. In fact, not just Connie, Keith as well, her boyfriend Keith, sort of changed their ways, as you would find out by the end of the series. Now, let's talk about the name Connie. The name actually came from a friend of mine. I'm not going to go into much details, but I had that name of Connie in my head for a long time. I don't know why, but I pretty much I thought it would be a good name. And with Keith, okay, funny story. When I was writing the names of these characters, it was originally going to be Connie Thomas and Keith Fisher, but or was it Connie Fisher? Or was it, anyway, the surnames were a little muddled up, and I accidentally gave her the wrong name, and therefore she then marries into Connie Fisher or Connie Fisher Thomas. So that was I'm okay with the names. Now, originally, if you've seen my minisode series, you would have noticed there's a slight voice change, because in the minisode companion swap, Connie was originally voiced by Millie Noble, who was very helpful enough to do the voice recording for her in that minisode. And by the time I was doing Moment of the Doctor, I asked Millie. I emailed Millie again to ask if she would be up to do the voice for recording again for that episode as well as series 1. But unfortunately, I got a reply back saying that she would like to, but unfortunately she has very little time. She's got too much on her schedule, so she had to sort of reject the offer. But since I still had contacts with Emily Moran, who at the time was Dalek Cyber, and then she became like Time Lady FAs. But anyway, she was a YouTuber at the time. I don't know if she still is. I'm pretty sure she still is. She voiced Perry in that minisode, so I emailed her asking her if she would be interested in voicing Connie, and yeah, and she was happy enough to take the role. Now, obviously, when it came to like voice recording, I was still in the writing process by the time this episode was being made. Hence, there are some continuity errors, or there are a few dialogue problems and all that. But basically, the writing process was a huge struggle throughout this episode, because I really did not know how to start and how I wanted the series to go. So, yeah, it was pretty much like development during production. So I had to like send the script in different pages in different sections. And she managed to thankfully she managed to record her lines separately, and I'm very glad that Emily decided to take over the role as Connie for this entire series, as well as in series 2. I'm very thankful for that. What was I trying to talk about? It's very hard, because it's very hard when you're doing, you're basically talking about behind the scenes stuff. It's very. I should probably get more people into this commentary. I should probably get like more people into these commentaries. That's a good idea. Note to self: get more people to do these commentaries with, because it's very not easy to do commentaries on your own. Oh god. Now this scene was filmed at the last minute. As you can see, there's not a lot of stuff. There's the Iron Man fist. There's not a lot of props. This was mostly because this scene was. Oh god, that is such bad effects. This scene was very cheaply done. This. Funny enough, this was done at night, and by that I mean everyone had gone to bed. I was still awake by the time. I can't remember what time, but basically I had to film this scene very, very quietly. So I turned off my light. I put like a little flashlight, and I basically just did like I only took like a couple of photos because I had to take it on my phone. I didn't. My camera wasn't fully charged, and I had to do it on my phone because even if I did do it on my camera, it would make like a sort of loud clicking noise, and I didn't want to wake anyone up. So I had to use my phone at the time, and it was not too bad. I mean, this scene's not that important, so I guess I can get away with the sort of cheap look. I'm actually glad I got the doors about right. Here we go. This is the house. Now, if you've been following me on YouTube for a long while, you would know that, you know, some people are probably going to be asking, who are those people on the picture frame? They're not Connie's family. They're not her parents. Or here's the thing. If you've been following me, you might have seen my Spider-Man action figure adventures. That living room was Peter Parker's dining room, and it was the only room I had at the time that was built. So I had to use what I got, and unfortunately I couldn't take the picture frame down, because if I did, it would leave like a huge mark on the wallpaper, and it would look kind of weird. And I didn't have enough time to redo the pictures. So yeah, I was stuck either way. So there you go. And okay, here we go. Let's talk about these creatures. You know, obvious policemen acting suspicious, obviously an alien in disguise. But then again, you know, you don't want to go all over the top with your monsters in first episodes. I mean, none of the episodes did. Yeah, but this was a simple idea. Now, recently when I released the posters that I was doing these commentaries, some people would notice there's a picture of Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the poster, and people are wondering, why is Electro in Doctor Who? Here's your reason why. This is an Electro action figure, and I was originally going to use it for the Spider-Man action figure adventure series, but since the series didn't go anywhere other than the first 2 episodes, I then thought, I might as well. He looks kind of robotnik. I might as well use robotic. So I might as well use him for this episode, and yeah, I think it kind of works. Even though one of his arms pretty much fell off halfway through production, so there are like a couple of shots in later episodes where he's got like some blue tack on his elbow. So I apologize for that. And here we go, Doctor saves the day moment with very cheap cheap visual effects. Now, originally, I kind they were originally going to be played by, shall we say, these Iron Man action figures. Originally they were going to be like the reoccurring main villains of the show, like kind of like the Necros from Wizards vs. Aliens, and they were originally going to be played by, shall we say, an Iron Man action figure, which I have, but unfortunately it's very big. The toy is very big that I couldn't actually use it, so I had to go with a smaller figure. So, and thankfully this one pretty much came up. So yeah, originally I was gonna have like a reoccurring villain, but then I thought, no, I'm not a fan of like reoccurring villains. You know, like the villains you get in every single episode. I didn't want that. And since I was going back to the Doctor Who formula, I thought, okay, I might as well go with like one villain, one monster in every episode. I'll tell you what, though, I'm really glad of this. Even though it's obviously a green screen ship on a flat background, I'm actually glad of how that shot turned out. It was cheap, yeah, but still impressive. And okay, this was a nice little moment to record. Just the Doctor and Connie just looking down from a spaceship onto Earth, and I personally think it's one of the defining moments of any Doctor episodes. Just the Doctor and the companion looking down at the home that they've come from. Well, from the companion has come from. They just have a little talk about the wonders of the universe and how small they must have been on this one planet, and you know, just to talk about what else could be out there. Yeah, the usual. It was a very standard speech. But there's one scene in a later episode which I'm very most proud of, which I'll talk about when I talk about that episode. Again, much like the bang scene, this was a very cheap episode, but luckily I managed to get some sets from action figure theater set. So thank you guys for that. I'm always crediting you. Don't worry. If you're looking for like sets to do for your figure adventures, then action figure theater are the best people to look for. And here we go. We're about to talk to our main villain of the episode, which I'll talk about later when we see him. So yeah, basically, as the writing process was pretty much continuing, there was like a couple of stuff I wanted to do, like twists and turns and scenes and dialogues I wanted to switch out. And oh yeah, I need to talk about the time windows. The time windows are pretty much similar, the same time windows from Day of the Doctor. Obviously I didn't know how to make them in this episode, but time windows are pretty much it. This was a very complicated plan to do, because I keep asking my questions like, why do the monsters want to make time windows? Why is a doctor needed? And, blah 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 blah. So it raises so many questions. And oh yeah, here we go. Surprise, surprise! Turns out Keith is a robot or a Cartrock, Cartrock. But yeah, the time windows are basically the same time windows from Day of the Doctor, and I thought that would be a nice little continuity to bring in the series, then include time windows. And here we go, we're going to meet our main villain, Gallicali. Now, why is he called Gallicali, and why is he a Dalek hybrid? Okay, it was either this or go with the original idea. The original idea was to have a very big, bulgy, very big creature. But I didn't know how to make an action figure. Even though I do like a lot of modeling, I do like a lot of character modeling on Blue Tack, and Blue Tack does not work very well when you take a photo of it. And originally it was this monster was originally a Slovene covered in tin foil with a Blue Tack head and a Cyclops eye. So yeah, as you can tell from that sounds absolutely stupid and pathetic, and I did not want the first villain in the first episode to be absolutely pathetic, which I thought Tim Shaw was going to be in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, but I digress. But I'm so glad I managed to find the Dalek-Sec hybrid action figure at the time. And I was looking at it thinking to myself, actually, that could work well. Even though I'm pretty sure I'm going to get like a lot of people asking why is there a Dalek hybrid in this episode. Should he recognize the Doctor? Blah. But no, I'm pretty sure no one would care. Here we go. I'm rambling on again. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of that in these commentaries, unless I get someone involved. But yeah, as you can tell by this commentary, this episode has gone through like a lot of changes and it was a very difficult process. Okay, I think I should point out in this episode, because I've only just remembered, the reason for these time windows was mostly was that originally I wanted this episode to take place right after Matt Smith's regeneration into Peter Capaldi. And by the time this episode was being made and being written, Series 8 had not came out at the time. And I originally wanted it to take place straight after the regeneration, like when they're crashing down the Tardis, like, do you happen to know how to fly this thing? And I originally edited an audio recording of the Tardis crash, and I used audio clips of Peter Capaldi from The Thick of It You're saying lines like, "Oh, I need to do this." No, no, all that stuff. And I included that with like a few dialogues from Clara. Oh yeah. And originally, Clara was originally going to be in this episode, and basically was the time windows. One of the time windows would have broken into the TARDIS and would have sucked Clara in, leading into this location, leading into this to the villain in this episode. And basically, the Doctor's quest in this episode was basically to find Clara and to fix the time windows. But I had to cut Clara out of the episode, mostly because whilst I was writing this episode, I was thinking to myself, but wait, if I've got Clara in this episode, why is there a new companion? And obviously, and there would be like and I was thinking to myself, oh, it's not going to work either in story-wise or production-wise. And also it would, there was like a lot of characters to include, and I wasn't quite sure exactly how to include Clara in this episode. How would Clara being captured by Galacali or the Cartrox in this episode would fit into the story, aside from the Doctor trying to find her. So and I didn't know how to do that, and by the time this episode was being made, Series 8 was released and Clara was still in the episode, so that idea was scratched. So I had to cut Clara, and I had to cut out the original opening out, which I'm real ashamed because the audio recording sounds absolutely sounds so good, that unfortunately I wasn't able to release it. I don't know if I've still got it. Maybe I might release it somewhere. But basically, yeah, Clara was supposed to be in this episode, but now she isn't. And I'm glad she isn't. Now, okay. Now some people might, what's going on here? How does the Doctor know how to defeat him? Now, basically, you won't be able to hear it, but in that shot of Galacali and Collie is that you would hear his stomach rumbling, almost like it's sort of churning. Like sort of that feeling you get from like a stomach overturn. You've got too much food in your stomach, and I did originally had it turned out, but I thought, oh, if I include that, it's gonna sound even more weird. So I had to turn it down, and yeah, as you can tell, it's kind of out of place or kind of a bit weird. But but this was a nice moment, and yep, the Am I a Good Man theme song was added in, and yeah, here we go. This was the montage. Some of the clips were from Babylon Color. He did like a tribute video of the Doctor Who anniversary. He had like a lot of clips. So I had to borrow some of those clips. Thank you for that. But also I looked up a couple of stuff I wanted to include. So I think what I wish I could have done was that that I would have used, altered the color or something to make it look so fadey, like or like like have the regeneration effects flying around. But I kind of wanted to go with the same style as the Dream Weaver from this Sarah Jane Adventures episode, Death of the Doctor. So that would have been like a nice little reference to the spin-off. But yeah, by the time this episode came out, it was after the Series 8 premiere at Deep Breath, and someone had released an unreleased soundtrack of the 12th Doctor's theme, so I was lucky enough to include it. Here we go, the reveal of the TARDIS. And yes, I still have nostalgic feelings for it. As I would have mentioned in a later, I'll talk about more of the TARDIS in a later video, but basically I wanted to say is, I didn't want to go too grand with the TARDIS. I just wanted to keep it sort of simple. Keep it, I wanted to keep it close to the, like the David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston TARDIS. You've got like the console in the middle, and you've got like these round things around the interior, and the real problem for me with the TARDIS was the staircase. I mean, luckily, it was nice to include the staircase from the Matt Smith staircase into it, but throughout the entire production, it always seems to have colors. It always seemed to it always had problems like the wall would come loose or the stairs would shake a little bit, and it was very hard to keep the characters still on the steps. But yeah, on one hand, I'm kind of glad to have gotten rid of those stairs by the time the new Tardises came out, but I still miss this Tardis. Maybe in a future episode, or maybe on the last figure adventure, I might have the Doctor step into that con's room one more time. And yeah, here we go. This is the little Connie and Doctor moment. Yeah, I think this was a nice little bookend. You know, to have their first meeting on you know, in the and their assuming last meeting, you know, in this episode in particular, in the same place. A nice, you know, bookends of the episode. You know, it began in this location and the episode ends in this location. So yeah, the Doctor basically offers Connie for a journey, and well, Connie thinks, well, basically at this moment, Connie is thinking, okay, what should I do? Should I go back in, you know, my life and continue making mistakes, or should I take this once in a lifetime opportunity? And so she makes the phone call to her aunt. It's not her mum, it's her aunt, that she's gonna go out and basically travel and see the universe, you know, just to see what she's worth. And here we go. This was nice. Yeah, let's ride. I still don't know where that quote came from, but it's a nice little quote. So here we go. The adventure begins. The Doctor and Connie begin the journey, and oh god, I was gonna talk about this trailer because this trailer is quite possibly one of my favorite trailers to have produced, but this commentary would take too long. So yeah, whilst this trailer's going up, I mean, this was a nice little trailer. You know, it was nice to have next time trailers, which unfortunately I wasn't able to include on the episodes by the time series 2. But now I'm going off topic. So rather than just talk about the trailer, I might as well for each episode just give my own feedback about each episode. So what are my thoughts on series 1, episode 1, the new chapter? Well, obviously I can see this is a dated episode. The production is slightly dated, the voice work is slightly dated, the writing is dated, but honestly, for a startup episode of Doctor Who Figure Adventures, it's not too bad. Honestly, if I was to have gone on to do more Figure Adventures, this is actually this is actually a decent start. Honestly, I kind of liked how I started off with the characters, both the Doctor and Connie. I kind of wish the story was improved a bit more. Maybe the villain was a bit more interesting, but it's a pilot episode. I mean, it's not perfect, but come on, it's a pilot episode. You know, you're not meant to go into take it that much seriously, but yeah, it's a good start. It's okay. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That was my commentary for season 1, episode 1, the new chapter, and I'll see you next time for episode 2, Chasm of the Drift. See you then.